Welcome to episode 74 Sport SA Daily Diary. Today we're chatting to South African 400 metre champion, Gardeo Isaacs. Hey Gardeo, how are we doing today, mate?
I'm good. I'm good. I can't complain. Obviously, I just miss being out on the track and being outdoors. I haven't been out since the lockdown started.
Really, yeah? Sure. You're based in Stellenbosch, huh?
Yes, I am. But I stay in Cape Town, so it's about a 40-minute drive from Stellenbosch.
And are you staying with your family? Have they been out during the lockdown, or?
Well, my family just goes out for the essentials, get some groceries and some luxuries, and it's not keeping me away from the fridge, so I need to manage it.
Yeah, I'm sure. As a track athlete, that must be quite difficult because normally you're burning all these calories sprinting around an athletics track. Now you can only do sort of cardio and a bit of gym work.
Yeah. But luckily, I'm trying to stick to my sports nutritionist plan, so that's actually keeping me on track at the moment.
That's very disciplined of you. I mean, there's often I go to the fridge and there's ice cream or a chocolate in there. It's going to disappear quickly.
Well, I leave that for my dad, Adam. So he's the chocolate guy. So I try and stay away from the chocolates. Well, I'm mostly into Woolworths donuts at the moment, so I'm enjoying that a bit too much.
Yeah, I'm sure. That can be too good for the waistline. You're a 400 meter runner. It wasn't always that way. You obviously started athletics quite young when you were in Paro, but you started with high jump.
Yeah, I started as a high jump. I think I started in primary school. It was just one of those trial and errors, you try every event out on the track. And then at the end of the day, I saw like, wow, I'm actually not too bad at being a high jumper. So obviously I jumped for a few years, but then I lost interest somewhere along the line. I think track was just more, the atmosphere around track events was just better. And I think that's what attracted me to it.
And has that sort of track always been your focus, or were you playing other sports at school? I see you a diehard Man United fan like myself. Was soccer on the cards at any point?
Definitely. I played soccer since I was 13 years old. Actually, before that, since I was in primary school. So, when you're younger, you always want to be a soccer player, always aspiring to your idols like the Cristiano Ronaldos and the Lionel Messi. So that was always the goal, become a soccer player. And then it suddenly changed towards the end of high school.
And when did it change for you, Gardeo? Tell us a bit about that.
I think it changed about end of grade 11. So that was about when I was 17, 18 years old. That I won my first SA schools title when I was 18. So since that day, I decided that maybe I should take track up seriously and put all my efforts into that instead of focusing on soccer.
Yeah. And I mean, 400 meters is not exactly the easiest race to run. I mean, I remember running at school. I was winning all my 1500 meters and 800 meter races. And those were a little bit easier because we weren't going as fast as you. And then you've obviously got your 100s and your 200, which are fast. 400 is a bit of a mix between, but you still have to sprint, and it's still bloody far.
It is quite far, and I think you need to have a higher lactic threshold in all the other sprinting events. So, but I'm one that loves the pain and loves putting in the hard work in training. Trust me, training's the worst for 400. You're standing maybe on the 300 meter mark, busy doing like 5 300s, and you're like, why the hell do I still do this event if I'm putting my body through pain each and every day? But luckily I love it, I enjoy it. I'm with a good training group at the moment, so they're also helping me out, and my coach is always there helping me as well.
And you couldn't have picked a better hero or somebody to follow in the footsteps in Wade van Niekerk?
The thing is, I always looked at the 400 meters, looking at stars to look up to, but it was always, you didn't need to look that far though, because there's one in our own country, and I think so far he's done amazingly, and I'm pretty sure he's an idol for every young 400-meter athlete in the world at the moment.
Yeah, no, I'm sure, without doubt. Not only in South Africa, but definitely across the world. His races are amazing to watch. He just seems so smooth. Do you base your style on his, or is it very much your own style? Do you run your races do you watch how he runs his races? How do you base sort of the Gardeo style?
I think it's based on my coach and myself. So he obviously sees what I'm doing in training. He just tells me to run the way I do. And if I run the way I do, nobody will catch me in the race. So obviously we go back to some of his races as well, see how he approaches his, especially the rounds at major competitions, see how he approaches his rounds, obviously his heat, his semi and his final. And then we also try and take smaller aspects from his race and apply to my races.
Okay. And I mean, your career is short. You're still very much in your infancy, but you've represented South Africa at the World Student Games, as well as at the World Relay Champs. Those must have been very special moments for you.
Yeah, I think my first representation was at the IAAF World Relays, and I mean the stadium was packed, and I really enjoyed the experience. And I think once you experience that, it gives you more motivation, and the hunger grows greater, if you know what I mean.
And you're currently South Africa's 400-meter title holder.
Oh, yes.
Tell us a bit about that race and how it felt at the end of the race and being top step and all that.
Obviously, there was favorites to the race, but the week before the championships, we had a 4x400 meter relay qualifier, and I actually split like a 44-1, in that race. And then I was like surprised. I was like, okay, wow. And then the next week before the heats, my coach came up to me before I'm walking to the starting line. He's like, this is your championships to lose. So I'm like, okay, whoa. And then it started settling in. And then in the final, I just had a bit of confidence in that final to take me through to the line and win the title. Obviously, it's a special feeling. It's my first title, and being the best in South Africa at the moment, it means a lot.
Oh, certainly, absolutely. And I mean, you've got the perfect role model to look up to in Wade. Your time there was 45:39, I believe. That's only 2 seconds off Wade's world record. That's not that much of a bridge to gap.
Yeah, it isn't that much. But if you look at it, 2 seconds in the 400, it's a bit of a gap, eh? But I mean, I think as you get older, you cut off a few seconds, you grow a bit wiser, more intelligent. Your body also grows more, and you adapt more to the threshold and the pain. So I'm pretty sure I'll get there eventually one day.
And did you have superstitions, or do you have any superstitions or rituals that you partake in before you race? I believe there's something about watching some YouTube videos.
Yeah, I always watch YouTube videos the night before, especially Wade's races. I think it gets the adrenaline pumping for the next day. And then I also have this weird superstition where I need to put on my left spike before my right one, because otherwise I'll have a bad race.
Has that ever come true if you've done it the wrong way around?
Not really. I just do it that way since I can remember. So when I'm put on my right spike before the left one, and I'm not noticing it. So then I just put on
Gardeo, what is
Excuse me, can you just repeat the last question?
Sorry, what is the future hold for yourself?
I think definitely Olympics next year. and then the World Championships after. And the goal was just be trying to medal at both. Because I think every athlete's dream, if you ask every athlete in the world, their dream will be to become an Olympian and win that gold medal.
Yeah. Have you qualified for the Olympics as yet, or is that still coming up?
That still needs to happen. Like every athlete, you can't qualify. You can qualify a year in advance, but you also need to prove fitness a year later. So you still need to get that qualifier a year later.
Okay. And tell us a bit about you say in an article I read that you're Manchester United's most passionate fan. Have you always been a Man United fan?
Yes, I've always been one. I watch my Saturdays consist of football, and trust me, if they lose a match on the weekend, my whole week is horrible until they start winning again. They're going through a bit of a rough patch at the moment, but I think we're heading in the right direction under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
You think he's the right manager?
I think so. I think he knows the tradition in and out. He's working with younger players. Actually worked with Paul Pogba and Jesse Lingard them in the youth squad. So I'm pretty sure he knows what's happening. And obviously I'm sure he's being mentored by Sir Alex Ferguson in the background. So I don't think there's a better combination at the moment. I think he just needs time, and I think people need to give him a period where he can enforce his ideas and make things happen as well.
I think that's completely relevant to all sports. And I mean, if you had to give advice to a young athlete, up and coming athlete, what would your advice be? Would it be about taking their time and getting into the sport properly? Or what would you recommend to a young 400-meter runner?
Yes, definitely. I think patience is it goes a long way. I think having patience, obviously enjoying what you're doing, because if you don't enjoy it, I mean, you'll be miserable all day long. So patience, enjoy it, and just keep dreaming and make this dream a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. Gardeo, it's been awesome to chat to you today on Sport SA Daily Diaries. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck with the remainder of the lockdown, and hopefully your training goes well, and we see you at the Olympics next year.
Yes, thanks. Thanks a lot, Adam, for having me as well.
No problem. Take care.
Cool.
Catch us again tomorrow on Sport SA Daily Diary, where we'll be chatting to the youngster who set the world of mountain biking alight, South African Luke Moore.